Guys, coming here, welcome back to part 2 of the video featuring the effect, talent and skills of the collab heroes from Kuro no Kiseki, and on this part of the video we'll be featuring Elaine. And before we carry on, a very great thanks for information shared and provided by Soyu. And here we go, let's get started. And first off, we'll be checking out on this character's art to appreciate, and like the usual stuff I said, if you try to tilt your phone or screen while watching this video, don't bother, I have tried that for you. You won't be able to check out or see any miracle, and not to mention she's wearing normal pants. Yep. So right, Elaine is voiced by Chiwa Saito, one of my favorite seiyuu, because she's always very great and voicing Neko, aka cat characters. So right now we'll be going through on her faction first. So she is the usual, going with collab faction, and followed by meteor faction, and last but not least the current famous meta strategies. And for her talent, it's kind of long and definitely longer than Agnes. Her talent is known as the Sword of Resolutions or Sword of Determinations. So right, and I'm gonna say she's definitely the power pack. Her talent is kind of like a mini self faction buff for herself, so it's pretty cool. So right, here we go. Increase attack and skills by 20%. During your end turn, if you have dealt damage, including fixed damage, you gain a layer of sword intent. Then, if you have not attacked the turn, convert your remaining movement into sword intent. So what is sword intent? Sword intent effects are as follows. When entering battle, increase damage deal by 3%. Sword intent cannot be immune nor dispel, and can be stacked to a max of 7 layers. So for each sword intent you have when entering battle, the damage deal will be increased by 3% to the max of 21%. That's pretty sweet. She has like a self faction buff. She has a self damage increasing engine. Then not to mention that when you end turn, if you have attack and your sword intent have hit 7 layers, you heal 50% of your HP, and you'll be able to act again once more. Do know that after you have act again, when you end turn, you use up all sword intent, and act again can only be triggered once per turn. So this is definitely a power pack, and again, she's a very strong single target effect hero. Not to mention she has AoE at the same time, so you can use to play her for either way. So alright, let's repeat again. Number 1, increase Elaine's attack and skills by 20%. Number 2, when you end your turn, if you have dealt damage, including fixed damage, you will gain a layer of sword intent. Number 3, if you have not attacked the turn, convert your remaining movement into sword intent. Sword intent are as follow. When entering battle, increase damage deal by 3%. It cannot be immune nor dispel, and can be stacked up to max 7 layers, meaning the max damage you can deal is 21%. Number 4, when you end your turn, if you have attack and your sword intent are 7 layers, you will be able to heal 50% of your HP and act again once more. So do note that if you have AA, which means X again, when you end your turn, you use up all of your sword intent, and this can only be triggered once per turn. So again, watch till the end for the effect that I have translate and write for you guys, or you can forward to the end. And on this part of video, we'll be only going through the exclusive skills. For all the skills she has, we'll be only going through on the demo play. So alright, coming to her first exclusive skills is on her first third class. So alright, is known as White Silver Cross. The cost is 1, CD of 3, the range is 6, and it's a AoE physical straight line skills. So it's a very short sweet skills to help out to collect and stack her sword intent skills. So number 1, deal 0.2 times damage to enemies in a straight line, and 2, cause seal passive effect to enemies damage, which will last for 2 turns. So as you can see, the damage is fairly low, however it has a very great skill effect, which is to seal off enemies passive skills, and for 2 turns. So characters like Langrisser, if he has resurrect skill brought with him, you can just shoot out this AoE skills, and if you have any follow-up attack from your allies, he will be GG no re. He cannot be revived again, well, unless not if Agnes is around. So right, let's repeat again. Number 1, deal 0.2 times damage to enemies in a straight line. 2, seal enemy passive effect that got damage, and for 2 turns only. So alright, that's it for White Silver Cross. Though it's very low damage, but the effect is short and sweet and neat. Though it's written as 0.2 times, but if you look at it, if you try to stack up with her talent, it is definitely not very little. Okay, next is on her second path, second class, so it's known as 100 Flower Sword Strike. The cost is 2, the CD is 3, range is just 2, the type is a physical single target skill. So right, deal 1.4 times damage to an enemy. Close combat soldiers that you bring will attack together, and they will not take close combat penalty. And these skills will do a one-time fixed damage before and after battle to target enemy. So whoa, this is pretty strong and neat. I mean, unless your enemies bring items like the mental holy ring, the one that bring intelligence, or bracer. If not, they're gonna be taking in a lot of damage, and there's a high chance that they're gonna die, because you'll be dealing not 1 but 2 fixed damage before and after battle to enemies. So and this will also help break enemies that bring items like last ride, so they're not gonna be able to survive easily. So right, let us repeat again. Number 1, deals 1.4 times damage to an enemy. 2, close combat soldiers you bring will attack together, and they will not take the penalty. 3, these skills will deal a one-time fixed damage before and after battle to target enemies. So this is pretty neat and strong. And this time around, this heroine is not having 1 or 2 exclusive skills. She's having 3 exclusive skills with her, and the third skill is on her second path third class, known as Rowan Green. The cost is 2, CD3, a range of 3, and this is a AoE skills, is a 3 tiles physical AoE skills. So right, you will do a 0.3 times AoE damage to enemies in range, and then it will dispel a buff from damaged enemy, and then it will obtain an immune effect, immunity to attack and intelligence reduction for 2 turns. So this is pretty unique. Not only will you be able to deal AoE damage to enemy, you dispel their buff and gain immunity to attack and intelligence reduction effect. Though I gotta say it would be better if she gained pure immunity effect against any debuff, though that would be asking for too much looking at her talent. Alright, let's repeat again. Number 1, deal 0.3 times damage to enemies in range to dispel a buff from damaged enemies. 3, you obtain immunity to attack and intelligence reduction for 2 turns. So pretty straight. And now we are moving to her 3C, which has both passive and active. It's known as Shooting Star Sword Strike. So the cost, well, it's a 3C scar. 3C cost. The CD is 4, has a range of 2. The AoE type, it's physical single target. So we'll be going through on the passive first. So passive is when you have sword intent, you increase your movement speed by +2. Ooh, so she's basically like a walking faction buff for herself, and also walking breeze. That's strong, and not to mention they do not stack with breeze. If I'm not wrong, we'll be able to find out during demo play to see if the icons are the same or not. And when attacked by physical attack, the higher your skills are, the lesser the physical damage you will take. Maximum is 80% reduction. However, there is a CD of 2 upon triggering these skills. So for this to trigger again, you got to wait for 2 turns. But this is pretty cool. You're definitely able to survive up to 2 physical attack. So that's pretty strong. So let's repeat again for passive. Number 1, when you have sword intent, increase your movement speed by +2. Number 2, when you got attacked by physical attack, the higher your skills are, the lesser the physical damage you take. Basically, is a physical damage reduction. Max has a 80% reduction effect, and it has a CD of 2 upon trigger. Moving to the active skills. So deals 1.8 times damage to enemy, and close combat soldiers you bring will attack together and they will not take close combat penalty. And after battle, deal a fixed damage to enemies 2 squares or tiles around the target enemy based on your attack ×1. That cannot be immune, and it will damage to a max of 3 enemies. And if enemies is killed by these skills, you will gain 4 layers of sword intent. So this is pretty neat, and I gotta say I almost cannot find any downside to this hero skills talent and skills effect. These are very strong, and not to mention she even have ignore immune to fixed damage. So yep, that's pretty sweet. Okay, the only downside if I gotta pick is that she do not have light sword soul. She do not remove enemies buff, so there might be the chance that enemy will be able to survive this attack. But then again, you win some, you lose some. So alright, let's repeat again. Number 1, deals 1.8 times damage to enemy. 2, close combat soldiers you bring will attack together and they will not take penalty. 3. After battle, deal a fixed damage to enemies 2 squares or tiles around the target you hit based on your attack 1 times 1, and this fixed damage cannot be immune and will damage up to 3 enemies. 4. If the enemy hit is killed by these skills, you will gain 4 layers of sword intent. And the new soldiers unit they unlock is known as the Monitor Giant Lizard Rider. So the effect that the soldiers will increase their attack and defense by 25% if you initiate battle, and if target enemies 1 squares or tiles around there is no other enemies, you will further increase your attack by another 20%. So that's pretty cool for her. But what did you guys think? Did you think she's strong, normal, or underrated or overrated? Leave it down in the comment sections below. We'll see you guys on the next part of video featuring the male leading Van on next part of video. This is Kami. See you guys and goodbye.